Hi, this is John. Welcome to Nonograms, my new YouTube series dedicated to helping people solve nonograms. A nonogram is a puzzle where you reveal a hidden picture from a grid of squares by solving a set of logical clues. I've become enamored of this type of puzzle recently, though when I started, I didn't have a good grasp of the logic needed to solve some of the puzzles. I tried to look for help on YouTube, but didn't find a lot of good resources. So I thought I would make this channel to help other people with what I've learned. I've done around 200 puzzles, but I don't claim to be an expert. The game I'm going to be playing is called Picture Cross. It's available on Android and iOS, #not sponsored. This was the first nonogram game I ever played, and it's still my favorite. I'm going to start with a tutorial playlist going through the first 5 puzzles in this game. I'll have another playlist for general nonogram solving strategies, as well as different playlists where I solve puzzles of varying difficulty levels. So let's start the first tutorial puzzle. Alright, to get started with the tutorial, tap this green button here. At the top, you can see it says, "Welcome to the world's biggest picture cross. Reveal the hidden picture in each puzzle." That's the goal of the nonogram. So tap over here on this blinking arrow to continue. Numbers around the board tell you how many pixels, filled squares, are on each row or column. This number 8, where the arrow is pointing, means all 8 squares on this row are filled pixels. So there are only 8 squares here. We have a clue of 8. We must be filling in all 8 squares. Fill in these pixels by touching the squares. So tap, 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 or tap and drag, whatever you like better. This number 7 means there are 7 consecutive pixels on this row. Trouble is, we don't know where. It's showing you our possibilities. Either it's 7 from the left or 7 from the right. There's no other way to put 7 consecutive pixels within a row with only 8 squares. This clue, 2, 2, means there are 2 consecutive pixels, then a gap, then 2 more consecutive pixels. And again, it's showing you the possibilities. Note there is always 2, some gap, 1, 2, sometimes 3, but at least a gap of 1, and then 2 more. So here's all the possibilities. These 2 columns are easy to solve. Go ahead and fill in all their pixels. Just like this row was 8 and there are only 8 squares here, these columns are 8 and there are only 8 squares in the column. So we can go ahead and fill this in and this in. This number 1 is gone gray. That means the pixels marked on this column logically complete the clue. You'll have to be careful with that logically complete the clue thing. It doesn't necessarily mean you're correct. If you've solved the puzzle correctly, it will be correct, but gray does not mean it's correct, just that what you've put in here logically completes the clue. Obviously, for this tutorial, it is correct, but just keep in mind, gray does not mean you're right, just that what you've done logically completes the clue. If you know a square can't contain a filled pixel, you can mark it with an X, which I will also occasionally call a cross. Press this button here to go into cross mode. Now mark these pixels with a cross, so we're going to cross out all of these right here. You can tap and tap or tap and drag, just like when you're filling in. By marking these pixels as not possibly being filled, the puzzle just got easier. That will be critical for solving most harder puzzles. This row is now easy to complete. The first square has a cross in it, so it can't be filled. Therefore, the other 7 squares must be filled. So you can see we need 7 in this row. We had 8 squares, but we crossed this one out. So we only have 7 available that can be filled. So we'll go back into fill mode, and we're going to fill in all the rest of these to get our 7. Okay, you can now complete these columns, mark 7 in one column and 6 in the other. So seeing this, we have 7. It starts at the very top. It can't go any higher, so it must go lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And similarly over here, all the way to 6. You'll see lots of other clues have now gone gray. You've solved lots of rows and columns. Mark all the squares that can't be filled pixels with an X. So go into cross mode, and we can see this 2, 2 is filled in. We've got 2, a gap, and 2. So these can all be crossed off. Same thing for this row, and this row, and this row. This one, though, it's not because we've got 2, 2, because we don't have 2, 2. So these are crossed off because of the column. There's 7 in this column. That's complete. 2 already in this column. These can be crossed out. 6 here can be crossed out. There we go. Good work. You've almost completed the puzzle. There's only ever one correct way to fill in a puzzle, and it's always logically possible to work it out. Never guess. I'm not convinced that's true, but we'll see. If you really are stuck, you can tap a row or column's clue box, and an option will be given to solve that row or column. So here is the clue box. The clues have the numbers on them on the sides and the top. So we'll tap this clue box here, and it will solve this row for us. That's made it easier. Can you complete the puzzle now? Should be pretty easy. We need 2, 2 in this row. We've only got 2 open squares. We've got 1 over here, 1 over here. If it needs to be 2, 2, this 1 can't go left. We've crossed this out, so it must go 1 to the right. Same thing over here. Can't go left. Has to go 1 to the right to make our 2 gap 2. There we go. Our first puzzle. It's a pi symbol. Alright, and we got a reward for doing that puzzle. Okay, well that concludes the tutorial puzzle. In the next episode, and the rest of this playlist, we'll be doing these 4 puzzles, which are the remaining tutorial puzzles, which are unlocked at the beginning of this game. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hit the like button, maybe even subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.